we're back.
Episode 48 of the Horror Guys. I am Kevin.
And I'm Brian.
And we're going to talk about horror movies. And this is a special week because there's a holiday coming up.
And we always offer you some good movies. And we offer you some turkeys. But this week...
They're all turkeys.
They're all turkeys.
Because it's Thanksgiving week.
Gobble, gobble.
And every holiday has horror movies. So, here we go.
If you've ever had a horrible Thanksgiving... We'll get you set up for that. All right, well, this week we've got 4 movies and a short. We'll be picking the low-hanging fruit for our Thanksgiving table. Blood Freak from 1972. Thankskilling from 2009. And the sequel, Thankskilling 3 from 2012.
See what they did there. There is no Thanksgiving 2, Thankskilling 2.
But there is. There's a story there.
And that's part of it. Yeah.
And the Troma film Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead from 2006. You can't even say it with a straight face.
I'm snickering just saying the title. That's how funny that movie was.
Well, there's a lot to talk about, so here we go. You like Blood Freaks?
I thought it was pretty good. Okay, it wasn't, I don't know about pretty good. It was decent.
It was horrible in a very entertaining way.
Okay,
it was definitely one of those so bad it's good kind of things.
It was entertaining. Yeah.
It was entertaining, yes. Good it's a long way from good.
It depends. There's a lot of ways to define good. You know, good covers a lot of territory.
Blood Freak from 1972, directed by Brad Grinter and Stephen Hawks, written by the same 2 guys, stars Stephen Hawks, Dana Cullivan, and Randy Grinter. Hour and 26 minutes, and you can watch this one on Amazon.
Steve Hawks just died earlier this year. We lost him this year.
I think his career died right after this film.
Well, it didn't do very well. Previously, he was a Tarzan, and he was injured on one of the sets
before this movie.
Yeah, and that kind of messed him up and messed up his career and. Yeah,
he was burned badly, and you can kind of see it on his arms in some shots in this one.
Yeah, but his career didn't recover as well as he did, I guess.
Yeah. He seemed physically okay, other than a bad-looking arm.
Yeah, I don't know what the story was there, really, but yeah, there was this movie, and then not much after it, really. Yeah.
I was only kidding about it ruining his career, but it was a pretty bad movie.
No, it was entertaining. I was entertained.
We start out with the narrator,
who looks at the camera and says a few words.
And then looks down.
And then sees what to say next.
And he's sitting
and
there.
And then he looks some more. And he's smoking a cigarette the whole time.
He's got his satin bathrobe and his cigarette that he's puffing on the whole time. And he looks higher than anything throughout the movie.
And he clearly did not have it memorized. He clearly was...
Oh, he just got there 5 minutes before, and they gave him a line of script to read.
Yeah, here's your pages. Read these. Yeah. He was not subtle about just saying a few words.
Clearly,
and then looking down. And
least professional narration job I have ever seen.
Yeah, it was.
And he sits there with a cigarette. We live in a world of invisible changes. He says the man who introduces the film. He's apparently reading his introductory speech from the lines printed on a page on the desk in front of him, and he repeatedly looks down to read his lines. See, now, I'll admit it. I'm reading these reviews.
Yeah, we refer to our notes, but we try not to do it as badly as he was doing.
This is not a feature film with a professional narrator. He concludes with, a pretty girl with a problem. Who could resist? Certainly not Herschel. And during the credits, we see that a girl's car breaks down on the highway, and she follows a guy on a motorcycle. She brings him along to a party at her sister Ann's house, and there's a lot of drug activity going on.
But she tells him not to do the drugs.
1972.
She's anti-drug.
Keep in mind, 72. Both Ann and Herschel refuse the drugs and the sex. Apparently, they're very godly young people. He snubs a woman who is coming on to him, and then she tells her boyfriend, we're going to have to teach Herschel a lesson. And this Bible stuff is really a drag, says Angel's sister. But Angel and Herschel talk about Bible verses for a while. There's like 9 people sitting around sniffing coke and smoking pot, while Herschel and Angel sit in the corner with another girl and have a Bible study lesson.
And I've never seen them... I mean, I am assuming it was cocaine they were doing, but it almost looked like a Vicks inhaler. And I've never seen people
I thought it was just a little clear vial.
Well, usually they, spoon out a little and snort it.
How do you know this?
I've seen movies. No, every other time. But they were putting the bottle itself up to their nose.
Like an
and
inhaler,
sniffing.
yeah.
Yeah, like a Vicks inhaler.
I suppose if it was in there really loose, that would work, but that's not probably the most practical way of doing it.
Yeah, I'd never seen it quite that way. Yeah.
Well, Anne talks to her dealer friend, who gives her something that said it's going to blow Herschel away. The narrator comes back on screen to tell us what we just saw. He's smoking in his robe, and he looks high as anything as he continues to read his lines to us.
He breaks in throughout the movie occasionally.
Far more than is
to
necessary.
recap things and,
Tell us what we just saw.
Then to give his insights on, the philosophical meanings of
I suppose
what
if
we've
you were
just
as
seen.
high as he was, you might need somebody to come in and tell you what you just saw. The rest of us can follow along.
Wonder if you even saw the movie.
But he didn't. Angel introduces Herschel to an older guy who offers him a job at his turkey farm. The next thing we see is Herschel cleaning the pool while Anne works hard to seduce him. She finally talks him into taking a drag or two from her joint, and the next thing we see are the two of them in bed. One thing follows another.
The evils of drugs.
Herschel heads to work at the turkey farm, and we get many gratuitous turkey shots before the old man shows Herschel to the turkey lab.
Yes, you heard that right. Turkey lab.
The scientists in the turkey lab want to give him some extra money if he'll take some experimental drugs, and of course Herschel agrees. Almost immediately after he goes home, he gets the shakes and needs to smoke more marijuana to calm down.
Well, it's not the marijuana that caused those symptoms, though. It was the drug he got from the lab.
It's left vague.
It's the turkey drug.
It's left vague.
The turkey drug. He needs more turkey. He needs more blood. Well,
The next day at work-
it gets worse.
The next day at work, he eats a whole turkey laced with the turkey drug. You could even say that he gobbles it right up. The pot and the turkey drugs react badly. He then passes out and has seizures. The scientists didn't think it would have any effect on a human, so they take him somewhere and dump his body.
Because they don't want the liability.
He's not dead. He's just having seizures, so they take him out in the country and dump him. These two scientists are a weird pair.
Yeah, there's something.
That night, Herschel wakes up and goes back to see Anne, only now he has the head of a turkey.
Just the head.
Just the head, yeah. She screams and faints. She soon wakes up and has a long monologue about the turkey-faced Herschel. What would the children look like? She whines. And Herschel climbs on top of her, eager to find out.
Yes, it's quite a movie.
Sex with the turkey-headed drug addict, yes.
Yeah.
The next day, Anne calls Angel and insists that she comes over. Anne shows Herschel to a couple of her friends, who react about as well as they could. We cut away to the Herschel turkey walking through the woods at night. He kidnaps a girl from a drug dealer's house, and then another from down the street. A third girl wanders by just in time to see Herschel cutting their throats and drinking their blood. He captures quite a few more as he washes his hands in their blood and drinks as much of it as he can.
And originally the movie was rated X due to violent content. They couldn't get a rating.
It didn't seem...
Well,
I mean, there was a lot of fake gore and fake
X just
blood.
means the rating board wouldn't approve it. It
Okay.
wouldn't give it a,
This movie is not that bad.
It's
not
really,
that kind of
It's
bad.
really not that bad,
No.
but it was bad enough where they couldn't get a rating.
I don't remember there being significant nudity in this.
A little bit, yeah.
Maybe some.
But it's the violent content that did it.
It's not that excessive
They
either.
actually cut it down a bit. The
lot.
violence, and
Well,
to get an R rating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one of the drug dealers attacks Anne, and Herschel intervenes. Herschel chases the drug dealer into a warehouse and cuts his leg off with a table saw.
They used an amputee as the actor.
It looked very real because he didn't have a leg.
Yeah. So they really saw the fake prosthetic leg off.
the fake.
Yeah.
So it's about as real amputation as you're going to get on screen. They
Yeah.
really did saw his leg off. Anne's friends catch up with Herschel, cut his head off with a machete, and serve him for Thanksgiving dinner.
But wait,
Then
there's
Herschel
more.
wakes up out in the field. He's hallucinated the whole thing after eating the drug turkey. The boss finds him and helps him home. Herschel and Anne pray for help, and everything starts getting better for the two of them. The narrator comes back on screen and warns us about the dangers of drugs, but he still looks high himself and coughs in the middle of his speech.
Well, that
can't finish.
That was part of the joke.
I think it was, yes.
Finish, yeah, because he was toking and smoking and don't do drugs as he's doing drugs. And, it was.
Don't do drugs, kids. It's a
Don't
public
do drugs,
service message. Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't a great movie, but it was an entertaining movie. I was entertained. I was amused.
Reefer Madness level.
Yeah.
It's that kind of anti-drug
along
movie.
those lines. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, this is about as 70s as 70s movies can get.
Boy, is it ever, with the fashion and the bikes and and you very seldom see those long extended nose bikes anymore. With the extent like the Easy Rider style.
You had to bump the brake in half.
I don't know. It seems like they'd be fragile at that point.
They're very neat looking, but you never
are.
see them anymore. I'm sure there's a reason.
But Herschel had one of those.
Yeah. Well, it's both pro-Christianity and anti-drug, and it's extremely hokey in both regards. The narrator popping up every few minutes is just so totally unnecessary, it's obvious that they were just filming filler material for some unknown reason. The full extent of the creature is Herschel wearing a mask, which looks more like an owl than a turkey.
Yeah, it did.
The leg cutting off scene was very realistic looking because the actor was an amputee in real life.
And the hanging people upside down and slitting their throats, that was pretty realistic.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I won't go so far as to say it was good.
Okay.
Speaking of good, 2009's Thankskilling.
I liked this one a lot.
I did too. This
Yeah.
was
This
far
was-
better than I expected.
Yeah, for such a low budget movie.
We
Yeah.
watched the trailer for this one first, and it's 5 college kids go home for the holidays, and you see them get killed one after the other. You know how it goes.
You think it's a serial killer turkey, but it's
and
more
it's all kind of
complicated
low
than that.
quality student film looking indie crap fest, cheap, very cheap looking in the trailer. And it wasn't like that at all. It was actually very professionally done.
Yeah. There's no such thing as an evil turkey. Remember that.
Directed by Jordan Downey, written by Jordan Downey and Bradley Schultz, stars Wanda Lust, Natasha Cordova, and Lindsay Anderson. Hour and 10 minutes.
Wanda Lust has a small but crucial role.
You think that's a porn name there?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. Link in the show notes for an affiliate link for us. And I've got here, there's no such thing as an evil turkey. There's no such thing as an evil turkey. Gobble, gobble, mother. It's the tagline for the movie.
It's a tagline for the movie.
I got to remember to go back and put a beep or
Yeah,
something
you got a
in
beep
there.
on that. Yeah, or something.
But I haven't heard gobble, gobble since without thinking that line.
No.
All right, well, in 1621, moments after you did like it.
I did, yes.
Yeah.
Well, the opening scene with Wanda Lust, it's such a spoof-like, over-the-top, gratuitous booby scene. It just, it was perfect.
Well, I think she
Yeah.
probably is a porn star because they're out to
her
here,
bodacious
yeah.
tatas, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, what he
Yes.
said, yeah.
Yeah. But the way it's filmed, and it's just, every gratuitous topless scene in a horror movie,
they're spoofing So moments after the very first Thanksgiving, a nearly naked pilgrim woman runs through the woods and is knocked down. The evil turkey says, "Nice tits, bitch," and kills her with an axe.
Yeah,
Credits roll.
It's a talking turkey.
Oh, yeah, let's talk turkey. 5 college friends go out together for Thanksgiving break. We get to know the 5 as they drive in their Jeep. Meanwhile, a homeless man and his dog live out in the woods. The dog pees on an old Indian totem, and Turkey rises from the grave to kill the dog.
Desecrated.
Turkey is his name, Turkie. It's not Turkey with a Y, it's
Right.
I-E. The college group's car breaks down, so they take out their tents and camp right there on the side of the road. Darren finds a sign that says Crawburg, and he remembers the old story about an old Indian named Feathercloud, who was dishonored by a pilgrim. He vowed to curse all white men, and he necromanced a turkey, and they use the word necromanced, who would rise every 505 years to kill. Oddly specific, that.
Yeah.
Turkeyologists all over the world refer to it as Thankskilling, and it's going to happen again in 35 minutes. What a coincidence.
I want to be a turkeyologist when I grow up.
And do some necromanting?
No, it's just the study of turkey and all things turkey.
Turkeyologist.
Yeah.
The homeless guy and the turkey argue for a bit, culminating in him screaming, "Damn you, turkey! Damn you!" dramatically. Turkey chases one of the girls back to camp, and they all laugh at her. The next morning, the homeless guy has been guarding their camp while they slept. They manage to fix the car and drive away. Turkey gets a car to pull over, and the guy wants to have sex with Turkey. Turkey shoots the guy and steals his car. The teenagers all go to their various homes. Turkey kills the football player's father and throws him the head like a long pass. Afterwards, they all convene at Billy's house except for Allie, who's having sex while Turkey watches. Turkey kills the guy, substitutes for him, and finishes up with Allie, who can't tell the difference. "You just got stuffed," he says right before killing her. But at least he used an extra small, gravy-flavored condom.
And the guy says that with a straight face,
Gravy flavor.
holding this little, an extra small gravy-flavored condom.
Where do you get those? The turkey then kills the sheriff, who is Kristen's father, and starts cutting. He cuts off and wears his face around, but no one, including Kristen, can really tell the difference.
That's a little absurd. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit.
They read in a book that all they have to do is steal the turkey's magical talisman, and then they can kill the turkey. Billy dreams he sees a cooked turkey and eats it whole. Then Turkey shoots his way out of Billy's belly. They confront Turkey in his teepee and tie him up. He gets away from them, but then the hermit shoots him as he leaves the tent. They dump Turkey's body in a dumpster that also contains radioactive nuclear waste.
What's worse than a zombie killer turkey?
A radioactive nuclear zombie killer turkey. Who then pulls Darren's tongue out of his mouth and pecks his heart out. Mm-hmm. Finally, Kristen makes a flamethrower and fries the turkey. And, of course, the film ends with the tagline, "Turkey will return in space." Yeah, it's over the top stupid, but it's actually very good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah. The trailers made this look like a low-budget student movie, but it was actually far better than I expected. It's more comedy than horror, and it is pretty low budget, but it's low budget done right. Everything looks well lit, and even though the turkey is a cheap hand puppet looking thing, it totally works for this kind of horror comedy. It's not even remotely serious, but it had very good gore and, believe it or not, creature effects. The dialogue was often funny, and overall I liked it a lot.
Well, and it helped that they were treating it seriously.
Yeah, they weren't laughing.
They weren't saying it with a smirk.
Yeah,
all these very funny things.
Yeah, it was done serious on the actor's part, which has made it even better. Mm-hmm. And of the four things we saw this week, I don't know, this one's going to tie with one of the others.
Yeah, this one's a tie with Poultrygeist.
Poultrygeist was also really good. Yeah. Did we see a short this week?
We did. A Thanksgiving Scary Story.
But what was it called?
Thanksgiving Scary Story.
Yes, Thanksgiving
That's
Scary
what it was
Story.
Called. Yeah.
2019.
It's on YouTube. Yeah.
We'll have a link to the YouTube link in the show notes. Directed by Sion. Written by Sion. Narrated by Sion. It's animated. It's 4 minutes long. This review is probably longer than the story.
Very effective.
Yeah, it's a little animated thing. Mm-hmm. A girl goes home for the holidays to visit her dysfunctional family. Everyone brings a home-cooked meal to the home of her dead grandfather, and hilarity ensues.
Not really hilarity, though. It's kind of
Somebody had a good time.
It's not funny, though. Yeah.
Commentary. It's well done. If you enjoy this short, Sion has dozens of other animated shorts of the same style, mostly revolving around the holidays. It seems to be that's her thing, is stories around Christmas and Easter and holidays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good storyteller, good narration, and it's like a single panel kind of animation. It's
they're drawn. It's not animated animation. It's more like a PowerPoint kind of thing, but it's well done.
Yeah.
It professionally done and looks good.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Speaking of professionally done and looking good, that takes us to Thankskilling 3 from 2012. Did you like it?
What happened? The first one was so good.
The first one was very good.
No, I didn't like the second one.
This was a mess. This was wow. This one's off the top weird.
I will, unless I see something worse in the future, I will forever, from this point on, say, well, at least that movie wasn't as bad as Thankskilling 3.
Would you rather see this or a double billing of Suspiria and Possession?
I'd rather see the double billing. I give this a -5.
And you didn't go to sleep on this one, did you?
On a scale of 1 to 10. No, but I did other stuff trying to tune it out.
It was pretty obnoxious. Directed by Jordan Downey, written by Jordan Downey and Mike Will Downey, stars Daniel Usage, Joe Hartzler, and Preston Autry, hour and 39 minutes. Link in the show notes. You probably... I don't know if I want to say you want to see this one or not.
I wouldn't recommend it.
It's train wreck worthy. I'm not going to say it's so bad it's good. It's a train wreck.
I didn't like it. I didn't
like it either. We start out with the very same topless pilgrim again portrayed by Wanda Lust. This time, in space. They kept their promise. Turkey flies up in a starfighter and shoots her in half with his lasers, yelling, "Nice tits, bitch, in space." And the credits roll. As the credits roll, we hear that Thankskilling 2 movie was the worst movie ever made. Only one copy remains, and Turkey will stop at nothing to get it. As the credits roll, we see men in hazmat suits with flamethrowers burning every last copy of Thankskilling 2 out in the desert.
And that's why we can't find Thankskilling 2.
Yeah, the whole gimmick is that they made the 2s and they destroyed them all. So here's Thankskilling 3, where they go back and try to find Thankskilling 2. Mm-hmm. There's no mistake, we didn't skip the second movie. Turkey is celebrating his 504th birthday party as Mrs. Turkey comes in, and so does his son Nibble. They watch a commercial on TV for the new product, the Pluckmaster 3000.
And this is kind of staged like
there's a laugh track in this part.
The worst sitcom you've ever seen.
Yeah, it's yeah. If you've ever seen a sitcom where the guy's sitting on the couch, the wife and kid comes in, and they do, it's like that at this point with a laugh track.
With 3 puppets and a laugh track.
Yeah. The Pluckmaster 3000 kills, skins, cooks, and carves turkey in 30 seconds. After the commercial, there's a news story about the complete eradication of all copies of Thankskilling 2. Turkey is not happy. Turkey goes berserk and kills Mrs. Turkey. Nibble plans to be his assistant as they go in search of an existing copy of the movie. Now, why they think there is one, I don't know, but they do. Meanwhile, we cut away to Earth. Greg Garbage pukes up a copy of the film in the dumpster where he lives. The alien Muppet Yomi finds it and meets Uncle Donnie, a guy who dresses like Mozart and is the inventor of the Pluckmaster 3000.
Did you catch all that?
Turkey and Nibble fly into town on the Big Seagull taxi, and Turkey steals Nibble's soul, embedding it in the very last DVD copy of Thankskilling 2. Jefferson, another guy with Mozart's wig, talks to his puppet mother when Uncle Donnie and the Yomi puppet come in looking for a piece of her mind. Jefferson wants to stick her with a butter knife stuck on the end of his broomstick.
It's a pike. It's not a butter knife.
It's a butter knife on the end of a broomstick. Then a giant talking cockroach comes in and directs Yomi into the oven. The two of them are building a mostly imaginary theme park called Thanksgiving Land when Jefferson gets run through by his long-awaited, near-mythical long pipe. And I give up. This movie defies writing a coherent synopsis. More stuff happens with puppets, Muppets, cartoons, video games, songs, chainsaws, bad wigs, alien worms, wise turkeys, skeleton turkeys, franken turkeys, and turkey hell.
Did you get the space robot, too, that the worm was riding on the shoulder of?
And space robots with worm pilots, yes.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff definitely happens, but what, how, and why it happens is irrelevant. You just got to experience this horrible mess for yourself. Stuff happens. Lots and lots of stuff happens,
yeah. And it's kind of shrill, too. And it's yeah.
It's like noise for your eyes with noise for your ears, too.
Yes.
This must be how it happens when you audition actresses who had to see the first movie before showing up for an audition. You end up doing it all with puppets. I cannot think of any other movie that had this level of good writing. There's some funny jokes in here, excellent production values, everything looked good, and still feel like they took 35 different movie ideas and tried to include all of them in one low-budget film. There is so much crap thrown into this movie, just for the sake of throwing in the crap, that this movie is crap. Did I say that right? This is bad.
You hear me disagreeing over here, yeah.
Now, Blood Freak was bad, but it was entertaining bad. This...
I wasn't entertained.
they burned the wrong movie.
It wasn't entertaining.
Yeah, I was glad this one was over when it was over. It was horrible.
But then we saw something entertaining.
Poultrygeist, Night of the Living Dead from 2006.
It's a Troma film, and that says a lot.
Yeah.
If you've seen Troma films, this was maybe the Troma-iest film of all the drama films.
Now, to be honest, this is a chicken movie. It's not a turkey movie, so Thanksgiving is kind of sketchy here.
And I think it's more of a gross out comedy than a horror movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Troma films are.
Yeah.
It's crude and raunchy and gross and funny and
Awesome all at the same time.
gallons of blood and bodily fluids and body parts flying everywhere.
Directed by Lloyd Kaufman, written by Gabriel Friedman and Dan Bova. Starring Jason Yachanan, Kate Graham, and Allison Saraboff, hour and 43 minutes. And this is one you can pick up and watch on Amazon.
And the man himself, Lloyd Kaufman, has a pretty
He
good
is
sized
in
role
it,
in this
yeah.
one. Yeah.
We start out in front of a sign that reads, Tromahawk, hard to say, Tromahawk Tribe Indian Burial Ground. Desecrators will be cursed to the fullest extent of ancient tribal law. Wendy and Arby are behind the sign, having sex in the cemetery, behind the grave of the Indian chief from the village people. They're interrupted by a bunch of dead hens reaching up from the graves, and a pervert with an axe. Then the pervert dies in a creative way. This is as the credits are rolling. She's going off to college, and Arby just is going off to, to do something else.
And meanwhile, they build a chicken restaurant on the site.
Arby comes back to town the next semester to find that they've bulldozed the burial ground and built a chicken restaurant on the same lot not long after.
Mm-hmm.
I just read that again.
It's not a KFC, but the founder is a general.
American Chicken Bunker.
Yeah.
ACB.
And he's a general, not a colonel.
Yeah, not the colonel.
That's right, he's the general.
It's never a good idea to dig up an Indian burial ground and build something on top of it. Have you ever noticed that? If you learn one thing from movies...
Poorly. Yeah, movies teach me these things, yeah.
So they built the chicken restaurant on the same lot, and it also turns out that, even worse, Wendy is now a lesbian. This, of course, results in Arby singing his revenge song.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of a musical.
Kinda.
There's quite a few music numbers in it.
Soon after, Arby goes inside and gets a job at the chicken place. There is some hint that the site may be cursed, since they built it on top of an Indian burial ground and all.
Mm-hmm.
There's another song about cleaning up the fast food restaurant bathroom, which proves that this is a Troma film.
Oh, is it gross?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you've ever worked in a fast food and had to clean the restroom, you may not be too surprised with this.
Oh, yeah, little over the top.
The General, the founder of the restaurant chain, comes by for the grand opening. He says that the company has carefully relocated the dead Indians, and we see them haphazardly stacked in the dumpster. We get a song about fast food and hiring the unemployable. A couple more songs later, Paco gets pushed into the meat grinder by an evil chicken. Then we get to see Carl Jr. have sex with a chicken, but that doesn't work out so well for either of them.
But just because he gets pushed into the meat grinder doesn't mean it's the end of him either.
No.
Yeah.
As the infected blood gets sprayed on the uncooked chicken, people start turning into mutant undead chickens, and then things start getting strange.
Mm-hmm. Body count presumably anywhere
Lots.
from 118 to 182, plus mutant chickens.
Okay.
Yeah. My favorite musical number was the Fast Food Love, though, which is kind of
That was like
Arby's
closing credits, wasn't it?
Well, there was two versions of it. No, the one, it was kind of Arby's fantasy scene where he's fantasizing, and it's a topless. He's with all the topless girls. He's with all the females in the cast plus extras, and they're all topless.
Oh, okay.
Including him. Yeah. Fast Food Love. And then they'd reprise it for the closing credits, the song.
Yeah.
And do a slow version of it. Yeah.
Well, the moral of the story is obviously that alcohol is the solution to the most serious problems.
In this case, it is. Yeah.
The songs are funny, the gore effects are quite good, and the jokes are way out there. It kind of is
And
slow.
it's politically incorrect.
You think?
That's important for a trauma film, too.
It takes a long time to really get going. It is kind of slow in the beginning, but when it does, the payoff is definitely worth it.
And once it does, it just keeps going.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. My biggest gripe has to be that the songs pretty much stop at about the halfway point. They should have gone all out and made it a real musical all the way through.
Yeah, they could have. Yeah.
There is a
Coulda, shoulda.
small amount of gratuitous toplessness in this film.
Small.
However, it probably doesn't account for more than 50% of the film.
It's a, yeah.
50%.
Lloyd Kaufman likes his boobies.
Being a Troma film, we're greeted to every conceivable poop, puke, and sex joke that anyone could throw in, and this accounts for the other 60%. It's completely nonsensical and stupid, but if you're okay with that, it's actually very entertaining.
Yes, it was.
And I would give it a toss-up between this one and the first Thankskilling movie. Are both very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're both kind of stupid, but they're both kind of good, too.
So if you're home alone on Thanksgiving or with the family and you need some entertainment after the dinner, check out these two movies.
Just these two movies.
Poultrygeist and Thanksgilling.
Now, the short was good.
Yeah, on the short, yeah.
And if you really want to see so bad it's good, go with Blood Freak. And just don't. With Thankskilling 3, it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, sad and bad.
It's bad. It's really, really bad. It's very, very bad.
And that's our show.
Yeah.
That's the Thanksgiving holiday. Hope you all have a good one.
Bok, bok.
Thanks, Turkey.
No, that's turkey. Okay. Well, get ready for next week, where we'll be discussing some after-holiday classics. No turkeys here. We'll have Universal's The Invisible Ray from 1936. Lugosi and Karloff.
Yeah, The Abominable Snowman.
Peter Cushing's first Hammer movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Bunny Game from 2010. And The Killer Toon from 2013 is our international film.
And that's tune as in cartoon, not song tune.
The Killer Toon, yes.
Yeah,
Toon.
Toon. So, looking forward to those.
Check out our Twitter at Horror Bulletin and find our group Horror Guys Podcast on Facebook. And check us out, horrorguys.com, throughout the week for written copies of all this stuff. And I'm Brian.
I'm Kevin.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.